I was stumbling around one night and I found myself on Bill Maher. And he asked me what I thought about the increased popularity of polyamory and thruples. You may have seen my reaction. I said, it's insane. Tonight I'm going to tell you why I said that, but many people don't agree with me. Be the first time that ever happened. In the last 50 years, marriage rates in the United States have dropped by nearly 60%. Did y'all know that? 1/3 of America's single population has engaged in polyamory or consensual non-monogamy. And 51% of adults younger than 30 years old say an open marriage with multiple partners is perfectly acceptable. I'm not under 30. What happened to finding your true love, settling down, having children, and getting married, growing old together? Is monogamy dead? Is marriage a thing of the past? If it is, we've got issues. Now, before we dig in, I want to call in somebody who knows a thing or two about love and dating. And I do this because I haven't been on a date with someone new in 50 years, which is a good thing, right? I'm calling in my good friend, Chris Harrison. You may remember Chris from the Bachelor franchise, and I'm proud to say he's now part of my new network, Merit TV. Chris has been that soft shoulder to cry on for countless contestants on their quest to find love and a walk down the aisle. I sent him on an assignment to find out why some millennials and Gen Zers are running from the idea of marriage. Take a look.
Ladies, how we doing?
Good.
Good to see you. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm just curious, especially as a newlywed, is marriage dead?
Dating in this day and age is terrible. And so the idea of trying to find someone to make that commitment to is overwhelming, and I'm not sure if I want to get married.
I think historically, women had to be married, and I think that's starting to change now. And I recently bought a house. I'm 24, I'm single. And so I don't think that marriage is essential for me.
Is that something you're agreeing with?
I do agree with that. I got married at 19.
Okay.
So I had that pressure of getting married, and I did, but I have been in a long-term relationship. We talk about marriage sometimes, but it's not a priority in our relationship. A lot of us come from broken homes, and that's what we know, and there's a fear behind marriage.
Is having children within a marriage important to you?
I think that if I could be married and have a kid, that'd be great, but it's also something that I'm prepared to do by myself later down the road.
Is polyamory something that's gaining popularity in this generation?
In my personal life, I haven't seen it, but I have seen it on social media.
Oh yeah, on TikTok, I see there's this one throuple that always comes up in my page.
Yeah.
Definitely am monogamous in my relationships, but it seems to be more and more women are maybe getting out of a relationship. Maybe the dating game is too intimidating for them.
Oh, Chris, have you ever been on a dating app?
No, I have not.
It's so bad.
Is it horrible?
It's horrible. It's awful.
And it takes romance out of it. Like when your first interaction with someone is through a message versus meeting them face to face.
So maybe marriage isn't dead. Maybe romance is dead.
Yes, we need an overhaul on romance, for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, welcome Chris Harrison.
Thank you.
Did anything surprise you when you sat down with Abigail, Rebecca, and Courtney?
What surprised me is almost the despair of, like I said at the end there, maybe marriage isn't dead, but romance is. In my vast experience on The Bachelor, I started to ask the contestants, who are beautiful, intelligent, successful, just like these three women, why are you here? And they said, do you know how bad it is out there? And that romance and dating has changed. The apps have made it so easy. It's like we're at a buffet and we can grab what we want and discard what we want, and it's right at our fingertips. they haven't seen successful marriages. A lot of these kids come from broken homes. They haven't seen how romance and love actually works. And the idea of maybe the American dream is unattainable now, that you can't buy the house, you can't get the white picket fence and the dog and the 2 kids. It's not as easy as it was.
Well, they're certainly not trying as much. So, Abigail, do you think that this dream can be fulfilled?
I don't think it's unattainable. I just think it is harder than it once was, right? My friends and I, we go out in public and try to meet people that way too, or we're on the dating apps, and it's not the same. People don't approach people in public anymore. And then the dating apps, it is very much a we're gonna send 5 messages and then be done with this person and move on.
Dr. Phil, something very interesting. I asked these 3 women, when was the last time you were actually hit on, approached, and asked out in person? They all said back in college, high school, or even 5 years ago.
Really? So how do you go on dates?
I think now there is a reliance on the dating apps. I think ideally in this world, we would be set up through friends or meet people naturally in person, but that's just not happening. And that's what I was talking to Chris about yesterday. I would love to meet someone, but I'm also now comfortable by myself and independent because I just don't know if that's going to happen for me naturally, and I'm not willing to compromise what I want.
Are you shocked when people put one picture up that doesn't look like them and then they show up? I always thought under promise and over deliver.
Right.
But no, seriously.
You're right.
But other people put up, it looks like their little brother.
Yeah.
And then they show up and look like Fido's ass. Courtney says she doesn't want to be dependent on someone else and vice versa. Courtney, what do you mean?
A lot of younger people are realizing that you don't have to rush into marriage. We have a choice now, and we can go and have careers, we can focus on education, and I think that that's happening a lot more. And I think it's really important, maybe not for everyone, but to be financially independent before you consider marriage, like being able to not just start from scratch and build that. I think a lot of people are looking at that, knowing that if for some reason it doesn't work out, that they have their education to fall back on. They have those things that are lined up and in order. That way, it keeps you from being able to take care of yourself and not have to rely on someone.
You know, that'll intimidate a lot of men, right? Because then they don't know what they've got to offer you.
If you're intimidated, then next. A lot of us from my generation, I grew up in the Bible Belt, so we were pushed into marriage at a young age. It was as soon as you had your first serious boyfriend that, people were starting to talk marriage. And instead of being like, what are you going to pursue for your education? What's your next steps in life? It's, when are you going to get married? And I think that that's not okay. That needs to change.
Well, that has changed, apparently, because marriage has dropped off a lot. What do you think about thruples?
I got
to ask that question on TV.
It doesn't end well.
Yeah, it doesn't end well, does it?
No.
When your credit isn't perfect, it can really feel like the system is stacked against you. Kickoff gives you the tools to build credit fast. With affordable plans starting at $5 per month, no hidden fees, and 0 interest, Kickoff helps you score big when it comes to credit. Make payments on time, and your credit can grow fast. Users with credit under 600 grew an average of 84 points in their first year. With over 1 million users, there's a reason why Kickoff is the #1 credit builder app. Start building credit with Kickoff today and get your first month for as little as $1. That's 80% off the normal price when you go to getkickoff.com/Phil today. That's Kickoff without the C. Get KIKOFF.com/Phil.
Must sign up via getkickoff.com/Phil to activate offer. Offer applies to new Kickoff customers first month only. Subject to approval. Offer subject to change. Average first year credit score impact is plus 84 points. Vantage score 3.0. Between January of 2023 and January of 2024. For Kickoff credit account users who started with a score below 600, who paid on time, and who had no delinquencies or collections added to their credit profile during the period. Late payments may negatively impact your credit score. Individual results may vary.
Do you know what polyamory is? It's when partners in a romantic relationship agree to date other people, and those people can date other people. and everybody's out in the open about who they're partnering with. So they don't consider it cheating. Could you handle that? Could your children handle that? Now, Jennifer, her husband of 16 years, Daniel, and her live-in boyfriend of 4 years, Ty, say they happily practice polyamory and live as a throuple. Now, that's like a couple, but 3 people are in the relationship. Well, I'll let them explain.
Monogamy is a concept that does not fit every relationship. Definitely does not fit mine. Daniel and I got married August 8th, 2008.
We decided on polyamory after a lot of discussion.
I started developing other crushes on someone, and then it was in December of 2015, when our kids were 5 and 3, we started actively doing more polyamorous dating.
I had my first polyamorous relationship in 2016.
Ty and I had about 4 or 5 dates before I brought him home to meet Daniel and the rest of my family.
I think Ty's cool.
Ty and I decided that we never wanted to be separated.
When Jennifer brought up the subject of Ty moving in, to me it just made a lot of sense.
So once there were 3 streams of income, the quality of life for everyone, I think, greatly improved.
If mom and dad are busy doing work, then I can just ask Ty, hey, can you check my room? Because adults check if our rooms are clean to allow us to get on screens.
It would have been pretty close to impossible to buy a house in just a monogamous relationship.
We had a down payment of more than $20,000, and we never would have been able to afford this house without Ty. I would never go back to a monogamous relationship.
Never.
Never.
I'm always curious about this when I'm talking to somebody that expands their relationship. How did you bring this up the first time? I mean, you're like sitting at dinner, lunch, and you say, Daniel, what would you think about dealing another guy into this? How do you bring that up?
So it didn't quite go like that, but I never cheated on Daniel, but I had been struggling just with developing not just like attraction, but actual like romantic, deep feelings for other people. And I didn't do anything about it. I didn't tell anybody. But eventually I sat down, Daniel and I were on a date, and I said, Daniel, I love you and I don't want to leave you. You know, it wasn't that I wasn't satisfied in my relationship with Daniel, but I was like, I don't know if I can do monogamy forever. I don't know what to do with these feelings. I had never heard the word polyamory before. I grew up very conservative. And so we didn't just dive right in. I didn't have anybody in mind. We just, we went to therapy. We started reading books. We started researching. We started going to local polyamory groups. And we took it pretty seriously, like slowly and openly.
She just said a real key word in there. She said, Daniel, I love you, but. And but means, forget everything I just said. Now I'm going to tell you what I really think. And she said, I love you, but I'm having trouble envisioning being with just you for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean, the first conversation was surprising, but I also felt respected because if she wanted to cheat, she could have. And if she wanted to sleep around and mess around, she could have. But instead, she came to me. Instead, she talked to me. She said, I care about your feelings. And not only does she care about feelings, she values the relationship that we've already built together. And for that, I think it made all of the difference in the world. Like, to be able to be honest, because we had this relationship that was built on honesty and trust, and to be able to be honest about these feelings and not break my trust, I think was huge. And I think it was the big help that conversation go well.
Do you date others?
I do.
You do. So you're part of this, sort of.
I'm in it. Like, I live with Jennifer, I live with Daniel. We all contribute equally to the household and to the responsibilities for raising children, just as a part of the family as anybody else.
Do you date other people?
Very occasionally.
Oh, so this isn't just a throuple, this is a throuple plus.
I would say the people who live under our roof always take priority. We operate like a normal family. You know,
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
I would say that. I would say we operate like a normal family. You know, we take our kids to school. We prioritize our family. I meal plan each week. We do chores together. We work out how to pay bills together. We have our jobs. And
How do you know where to sleep?
That's a great question.
We have a schedule.
We have a schedule. So every 2 nights, I have a little basket of like my toiletries, anything that you keep on your nightstand, the book that I'm reading, my night creams, my makeup removers, and I will take it to Ty's room, and then 2 nights later, I will take it to Daniel's room.
Oh, are you also dating other people?
Yes.
Oh, so this is an all-skate. So all 3 of you are seeing other people as well as each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've heard me talk about Jace Medical. If not, listen up, because they're doing incredible work in medical preparedness. And today, I've got 2 major updates to share. First up, the ivermectin use case. You've probably seen the headlines calling it a wonder drug. The scientist who discovered it even won a Nobel Prize, and now Jace is offering a 30-day supply at the best price you'll find anywhere. Next, the upgraded Jace case. An emergency supply of antibiotics delivered to your door. They've doubled the number of medications to 10 at just $20 more. And now, the most comprehensive and affordable kit available. Get it before you need it. Don't wait, order today. Visit jace.com and use code PHIL at checkout for a special discount. That's JASE.com, code PHIL. You say you move every 2 nights from one bedroom to another?
Yes.
What if you don't feel like moving yet? I mean, because you can't legislate emotions. You certainly can't calendar them.
My duty as, you know, the partner of both Ty and Daniel to have an egalitarian household, I take very seriously. Only on very rare occasions, like maybe somebody's birthday or something, would I ever go off the calendar, because it is so important for me to keep things fair between both Ty and Daniel. I want them to both feel loved and both feel honored and both feel respected by me.
Do you think this is healthy for your sons?
Yeah, I don't think it affects them in any way. They're more concerned about like playing, you know, Roblox or video games or, you know, cartoons or anything like that.
You're a newlywed.
Yes. Seems really old and conventional now.
Not at all.
Nope.
Did you guys ever talk about this at all?
No, sir, we did not. I'll be honest, it sounds exhausting. And as someone who dated, you know, I was married, got divorced, and got remarried to this amazing, beautiful woman who I love, I don't understand, you know, how jealousy won't ever rear its ugly head, how someone won't get hurt at some point, and what that covenant is in this relationship.
I would say the most thing that would cause me jealousy is like, you know, they go to a restaurant that I want to go to with their other partner instead of me. It's nothing like, oh, I'm mad that someone else loves you. In fact, there's an emotion called compersion, which is considered the opposite of jealousy, which is that you feel good for someone else experiencing happiness. And I would say I experienced that for both Ty and Daniel, that it makes me happy that other people can love them and see them the way that I do.
You just don't want them to love them at that restaurant.
That's right.
What happens if you and Ty break up?
We had a long conversation on what that would look like, because once you become involved in my children's life, he is a parent to my children, then he is attached to them for life. It does not matter what happens between Ty and I, he will be involved in my children's lives forever. And I know that because he has proven in past experiences, he still checks in on his ex-girlfriend's kids from past relationships. And his name, we have gone through legal documents. If something happened to both Daniel and I, our kids would go to Ty in case of custody issues. Like, this is a really serious commitment, and we took it extremely as seriously as you could take it.
Would you get nervous if they broke up? Because she said, I love you, but I need a booster.
No, I wouldn't get nervous if they broke up. I would be sad. I would also be heartbroken. I would be, you know, doing my best to you know, be a comfort and a resource. But yeah, I I wouldn't be nervous at all. I think we have, like, Jennifer and I's relationship has never felt more reliable.
And I would say I am just as committed to Jennifer as if I were married to her. In the event that there's any sort of insane disagreement that we would break up, I would still take on that responsibility to ensure that the kids are taken care of, ensure that finances are secure, that no one gets the boot, essentially, in that way.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. Your savings are at risk. With the economy on shaky ground, the dollar losing value, and a $2 trillion deficit, things could spiral. Don't wait for the worst. Take control of your financial future now. I trust Preserve Gold to safeguard my accounts, and I urge you to do the same. They're the only precious metals company I recommend. What are you going to do to protect what's yours? Claim your special offer and learn how to reinforce your financial future. Visit drphilgold.com to get your free precious metals guide from Preserve Gold. With gold prices recently breaking records and analysts predicting this trend to continue through 2025, you cannot afford to wait. As a bonus, you can get up to $15,000 with a qualified purchase from Preserve Gold. So don't wait. Visit drphilgold.com today. There are some who don't believe a polyamorous relationship can work. Statistics suggest that it doesn't work, but a lot of marriages don't work either. Devin still is a positive psychology practitioner who specializes in didactic relationships, including romantic relationships and parenting. And on the other side of the debate is Dr. Elizabeth Sheff. She has a PhD in sociology and has written multiple books about polyamory and ethical non-monogamy. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
Devin, what do you think about the whole paradigm?
Well, first, I understand the logic behind it. I think right now we live in a society where a lot of people are financially insecure, and they're trying to find ways that they can solve that problem because certain things weren't put in place for a lot of millennials and Gen Zs to succeed. Even with me and my wife, when we first got married, we came from broken homes. We didn't understand what it took to have a successful marriage. So wherever there's ignorance, there's experimentation. So we started off experimenting with marriage, and we were struggling, we were failing. But we came to each other, we turned towards each other and said, look, this is not find a way to correct it, instead of turning away from each other and trying to fulfill needs outside of our marriage. I listened to, earlier they said that he respected the trust that she had when she came to him. But I think the trust really starts when you initially start to have those emotions. You come to each other in the beginning so that you can find a way to solve that problem rather than allowing it to fester over time to the point where you're already ready to bring new people into the relationship.
Yeah. Now, Dr. Sheff, you tried polyamory personally. It did not work for you.
No, I've tried it twice, in fact. I've tried to be polyamorous for about 30 years or so, different ways.
That's a fair test.
Yeah, gave it a good try. And just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean that it can't work for other people. In fact, I would say that for some people, polyamory works far better for them than does monogamy.
So do you recommend this to people? Because you know the statistics are that the vast majority of polyamorous relationships fail, correct?
I would disagree. In my data, I see durable, lasting, very long-lasting relationships for more decades. I've had people in my research in 70-year polyamorous relationships. So those kind of durable, healthy, happy relationships, they don't get a lot of press because they're kind of boring. People spend more time folding laundry than they do having orgies in the kitchen. They never have orgies in the kitchen.
Well, you may have anecdotal circumstances where they last for 60 or 70, but you know that the overall research suggests that the rate of failure in polyamorous relationships is higher than it is for traditional marriages. Do you disagree with that?
I disagree with how are you characterizing failure?
They
a
break up.
relationship takes a certain form.
They break up. Well, there have been studies that have been done. This Chapman University has done studies on this. Have you seen that data?
Oh, yes. Dr. Amy Moore's research, I've read quite a bit. She's fantastic.
Well, according to a study by Chapman University and the Kinsey Institute, there's a 92% failure rate in open marriages. 80% of the people in open marriages experience jealousy. More than 70% of the people who had polyamorous relationships said they would not be in another, and that possessiveness, emotional aspects make it difficult to navigate. And that's from your Chapman
My colleague,
University.
Dr. Morse, yes.
Yeah. The next time you gather with family, enjoy Balance of Nature supplements as an addition to your favorite dishes. Our veggie supplement, made from 15 ingredients like garlic, onion, and cayenne pepper, can easily be opened and added to your favorite dishes like homemade soups or dips. Not to mention our fruits supplement, which is made from 16 ingredients like banana, strawberries, and mango, making it a great addition to your homemade smoothies. Start your journey with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first preferred set as a new preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Dr. Phil. That's DRPHIL. Tonight we're discussing whether or not monogamy is a tradition that has just really changed, gone out of style, no longer the case. Devin, is this just outdated, changing with the times because we have people that are approaching relationships differently? When I was growing up, you worked your way through the relationship hierarchy differently. Your mom will take, my mom will pick up. You go through puppy love. You go through all that stuff for a while. Now that's all jumped over. They start later and go further faster. Devin, has it just become outdated?
No, I think to your point, a lot of people think that marriage is dead, but I think it really depends on your perception of things. I'll give you an example. When I first moved into my house, our lawn was brown. And I told my wife, we got to get some new grass in here, get all this grass out of here because it's dead. Well, we brought somebody in and they say, look, it's not dead, it's dormant. You're just not watering the grass enough. So we're going to set up a way for you to water the grass. A couple of months later, it was green again. It's the same thing with marriage. A lot of people think that marriage is dead because they don't know how to water it properly. But the moment you take out the time to learn how to do it, it can come back to life.
You watering the grass?
7 days a week.
Braggart.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
You guys took that a very dark way, but I think what Devin said is it really rings true with what I talked to the three ladies about. Is there is I want to have my cake and eat it too mentality. It's almost like a drug addiction. You get that first high, and then you got to do more, and the high doesn't last as long. You got to do more, and the high doesn't last as long, and you're chasing something that is inevitably empty, and you're going to come up empty. And that's what the statistics show.
Let me ask both of you, if you're going to pursue this from a polyamorous standpoint, that sounds to me like a long word for dating. Why get married?
That's a great question to ask. So, because I got married, I was engaged at 19 to like my first serious boyfriend that I had at 18, very common in my very evangelical home. I got married at 20. I had 2 kids by 25. I tried to do everything, by the standard American, typical heterosexual marriage. And then, I found that I wanted something more. I was looking for polyamory, and now, and I'm still married. And now, why get married? I think you should get married. I have nothing against monogamy. My parents are in a loving monogamous relationship. So is my sister. So is most everybody I know. That's the best way to legally connect yourself to someone, especially if you have children. But, a lot of us, we have just different definitions and an expanding definition of what love can look like.
If you knew then what you know now, would you have gotten married then?
Absolutely. I love Daniel, and me not loving Daniel has never been a problem.
Would you have waited a little while? Would you have matured some, maybe looked at some other career options, done some different things in your life before you got married at a young age?
Maybe. I wouldn't recommend other people go out and get married at 19 or 20, not just because of like, you don't know what you want, but because it's so difficult financially, and we struggled financially. You know, we struggled to get our lives together, but I also don't regret it. I would choose Daniel every day, all the time, and I love the timeline that we ended up on. So I have no regrets.
What do you say is the point of getting married if you want to have multiple relationships?
I would say that not everyone does get married. Some polyamorists are very much against marriage. They feel like as an institution, it is corrupt. For other polyamorists, marriage is a recognizable form of commitment. So they feel that it creates a container for them, that their relationship is recognizable to each other and to other family members.
Yeah. And it is changing. I mean, it's dropped tremendously in the last several decades. It's dropped off, 60%?
And we talk about marriage and monogamy as if they're the same thing, but they're not. We really have never expected monogamy of men. Wealthy and powerful men.
Oh, it depends on who you're
every
talking
society. If men act monogamously, then they get, oh my God, you're so amazing. How fantastic. You know, you're a superstar. And if they don't act monogamously, they get, well, boys will be boys. I think the big difference with polyamory is now women are actually choosing multiple partners as well. And that is historically quite unusual. One husband with multiple wives. That across history is far more common, again, for wealthy and powerful men than monogamy.